Well, we are officially live. This is going to be a different episode. Like I mentioned in the intro, we got Kurtis Densmore. I said that right, buddy, didn't
I believe so earlier. Yeah.
I? All right, cool. Curtis is one of our archery associates or archery techs at our Hebron location. This is going to be kind of like an employee spotlight, quasi-employee spotlight, BS session, if you will. Curtis is a good friend of ours and has some really cool hobbies. And there's some really cool stuff. If you're on YouTube, you can see all the layout that we have here. We have bobcat skinned out. We have arrowheads, knives, elk antlers, homemade turkey calls. There's some really cool stuff out here. So we're going to get into the weeds of what he's got going on, as well as kind of share some stories from some of our hunting trips that we did this year. And Kurt, without any further ado, man, let's go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of talk about you.
All right. Thanks, Jordan. So my name is Kurtis Densmore. So like Jordan said, I am one of the archery associates. So if you got a problem with your bow, you just bring it on in, get taken care of.
Yep.
So what we got here, we got some Georgetown flint, got some black obsidian, mahogany obsidian, and some stuff from my neck of the woods is flint. So Flint Ridge. So Flint Ridge flint is a special kind of flint. So that flint is, you can only get it one place on planet Earth. And that is right there, Hopewell, Flint Ridge, Ohio.
Yep.
So all the Indians, they would come over from the west, and they would, come and trade, and they would dig up the flint. Then they would make their arrowheads so they can bring back out west and, kill all the animals they need to kill to, put meat on the table.
Sure. Now, when did you get into, give us a little history on, when you started collecting and when you started getting into more of this primitive stuff? Because there's a lot of primitive things that you're into. You're not just into, napping and arrowhead making and stuff like that, but there's some other stuff that you're into as well. Kind of give us a little background about where you got started with this primitive stuff.
So my papaw, which would be my mom's dad, so grandpa, papaw, however you want to take it, he introduced me to hunting and fishing back when I was little. So I shot my first deer when I was 4 years old. It was with a crossbow. He had me up on a milk crate with a tripod and an old Horton crossbow. So I really dedicate a lot of my stuff to him. He's long gone though, of course.
Yeah.
Been a couple years since he passed away, but he took me out there into the fields. We were just, dove hunting, whatever, squirrel hunting, and just looked down. And I said, Papa, there's a cool rock right there. He said, pick that up. I picked it up, and, right there is a arrowhead. Yeah. And back in the day, the Indian dropped that right there.
Oh, sure.
Or it could have been shot into animal, who knows.
You probably remember what kind of day it was, too, picking it up, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a nice, real sunny out, bees, buzzing around, birds chirping.
How old were you there when you picked up your first arrowhead?
I was probably about 7 years old.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
How old are you now, buddy?
I am 23.
23.
Yeah.
Young man. Remember what it's like to be 23, Ben?
So that got the journey started, and then when you saw that arrowhead and all that stuff, did it start right away learning how to do all this, or did you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I wanted to learn, more about it. So on down there at the Flint Ridge Park, there is a little historian museum. You can go there, you take tours, Twice a year they have the Flint Ridge Nap-In. So we haven't had to, have it for the past couple of years because of COVID.
Sure,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So if you go there, then everybody and their brother, come from all over. So if they're like this past spring, we had a gathering there. There was people over from California, Alaska, Canada, Florida, Texas, everywhere. Goes there, and they trade these. You can buy certain materials. You buy tools, antlers, all the good stuff that you need to, have to do this. So that's a real nice place. It's family friendly, of course.
Oh,
Sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool event. I know a couple people before I met you that would go there and try to learn I have some pieces of flint that I found in my garden. I don't live too far from there, maybe 10 miles or so, and so I was looking at that napping event too. Man, I got this really nice piece of flint. What we can do with it, and maybe learn how to do it. Of course, now that I know Curtis, I'll just have him do something cool with it. Make a little arrow tip for me.
And that's the cool thing too. So if you don't have access to actual flint or other materials such as these, what you can do is you can use glass. So that's basically what obsidian is. So if you have access to say a local bar, they have tons and tons of bottles that they get rid of course. So my dad, he owns a local bar down there and the town. So I can go there, get a whole bucket full of bottles, break the bottoms out of it, and make my little, small game heads.
Yeah.
Or you can get whiskey bottles, get the size of them, and you can do spearheads. All the different kinds you can do. You can use old, like toilets, the tops of them, porcelain.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make it all types.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So these events, you can go ahead. So for those of you that may not be familiar, Flint Ridge is in Licking County. It's in the southeast corner of Licking County, right on, I believe, Brownsville Road.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're familiar with Licking County, I mean, obviously you know where Flint Ridge is because you grew up here. But for those of you that are not, it's a really nice little park. Got nice walking trails. There's so much flint. You can't pick it up. It's got to stay there. It's not something that you can just grab. But it's a really cool little place. And so I definitely would recommend someone come at least check it out and walk. I mean, the amount of flint, you look anywhere, any rock that you see is flint, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So you get these events, and then you're trading. I mean, you're trading obviously rock and different types of material, but you got all these tools set up here. Let's talk about these tools a little bit and let's get into the process of creating like an arrowhead, or you have the what's the axe head that you have here too as well. Let's get into that process a little bit.
All right. So what you would have to do first off is you want to find a nice, uniform piece that you can start striking on. So like this one, I would take it, but first I would have my, hitting pad right here.
Yep.
I would put that piece of leather on my leg.
Okay.
Then I would take the abrasion stone and I would just scrape off the edges and knock some of those little smaller flakes off of there. Then on forth of that, this is called a billet. So the billet, what this does, it drives the flakes from the edge. Once you hit that right there, boom, that little mountain, it's going to drive that flake all the way down and across there. And that's when you're going to start getting into this, and then this, and then that's your preforms. And here's also a smaller billet for more, detailed work.
So for those of you listening on the phone or listening on the podcast, so it's a wooden stick basically. Was that like a brass?
So that is actual pure copper with a little bit of lead in there just to give it a little bit oomph to it.
Yeah, almost kind of looks like kind of reminds me of one of my kids' little Nerf gun darts is kind of what it looks like, So that's kind of what the vibe there, if you will.
So you got some weight on there so you don't have to hit it quite as hard.
Yeah.
You can just kind of tap it and it does the work for you.
Yep. But you got guys, what they do is they'll get a big old piece of moose antler and they'll cut the bottom of it and they'll use the base of it and then they'll round it off on a sander, and then that's when you get the real big flakes when they're making nice daggers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see this moose antler? He's got sitting right here. Little piece of moose. Now, did you get this at the event, right?
Yes.
You got that at the napping event. So the little piece of antler. Now, where was this person from that gave that to you?
So that person I got that from was actually my really good friend Eric. So Eric is an archaeologist.
Okay.
So he travels all across the U.S. and he gathers up his own materials and he brings it back here.
Cool here, Ben. Check that out.
And when I was talking to him, he was also telling me about how Flint Ridge is the only place on Earth. So he actually mines his own flint from Nether's Farm. So if you don't know where that's at, it's up there by Flint Ridge where you can go and pay a bucket load.
Like a neighboring property?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what he does, he told me that he dug up 20 tons of flint and only about 2% of it was actual napping material.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But other than the billets we have right here, they're called pressure flakers or hand flakers. So this would be a piece of elk antler right here. And what you do is you would have your hand pad, you would abrade right here on the edge, knock off the little flakes. You would take this, you just want to go in and then down, and it drives them flakes off there and into the middle. So what this is actually a preform. So if you want to get into flint napping and make cool looking arrowheads and spear points, preforms are a way to go because you don't have to actually take an oddball piece of rock. So this one you would just be able to just drive the flakes all the way across, and eventually they'll meet in the middle and be uniform.
And that's something that somebody has for you already available.
Yes.
Someone at this event will go ahead and preform something out of a larger chunk of rock.
Yep.
So while this one that I have here in my hand is obsidian, it's kind of like a red and black.
Yep. So that's
kind
the
of color,
mahogany.
Like mahogany is obsidian. Yep. So it's kind of like obviously the mahogany and black color, and then there's another piece of black obsidian here as well. So someone would go ahead and probably get that into a much more usable, more friendly shape for you, and then basically at that point, all you're doing is putting the edge on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you went to the nap-in and you're just wanting to learn, you don't have any tools, you don't have any of this, blank material and everything, could you buy? I'm assuming you could probably buy everything you need there.
Yeah, so you can buy all the materials that you need to get started, but if you just want to come over, learn, watch, take the kids, and just learn,
Yeah.
you can do that. And then if you sit down or ask somebody, hey, could you show me how to do this? Everybody there is super friendly. They'll go ahead and they'll tell you, hey, yeah, just sit them down, pull up a chair, we'll show you how it's done.
That's cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so like right here, so here's some more pressure flakers. That's an all natural, so that's a piece of deer antler, whitetail.
Yep.
That right there. So what I would use for this would be the finishing when I put my notches in. So that'd be the notches that you would use to tie in to your arrow.
Yeah.
So these, that's when you can really get down in there because you can't really do it with, a blunt,
Yeah,
sure.
blunt head.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's just basically, again, this is going to be a lot of describing this podcast to the listeners, but this is just a piece of deer antler that's been kind of whittled down on the end to make a little bit more of a sharper point, and then he would use that to go ahead and do his knocks in there.
It's almost like a blade shape at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
This is all super cool stuff.
Almost like a flathead.
Oh, yeah.
So right here, this tool is called a Yeeshi Stick. So what this tool does is it gives you more of an advantage when you're making those flakes off of those heads. So again, you would take your point, have it into your hand right there, and you would just push in and down. But then I'm not just using my hand. I'm using my whole force of my arm and my shoulder, and I'm bringing that in close. And that really, what this tool, you can really get across all the way on that face. It's a really nice tool.
That's pretty cool. And so that's just like, it looks like just a stick, basically like a plastic stick.
Yep.
With a little point on the end of it, like a little nail head point kind of on the end of it there.
Yep. So copper, you can use a steel point, steel nail. Copper, it's a little bit softer material, so it won't really, break the point, because there is a chance of that. If you're really working on the point and you're trying to get down on it, that steel will snap that point in half. But the copper, it give a little bit.
Yeah, a softer material. So you have a question?
So both of those, the Yeeshi Stick and what was the other one called, the smaller one?
This one is a hand flaker.
Okay.
But they're all pressure flakers.
So I see they both have like a set screw on the end. So if the brass gets worn down, you can change that. I'm assuming you can get those.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then you get that all at the show, like I said. Yep.
That's awesome. And they have this 2 times a year.
Yep. So there's
with COVID and everything.
There's one in the spring. Usually it starts about mid-May, and then there's another one that's coming up in September, the beginning.
Okay.
Be about September 5th, somewhere in there. But if you get up on Facebook and look up Flint Ridge Nap-In, of course, it'll show you the dates.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah. And if you're local, obviously, you could probably stop into the office there that they have, and they'll probably give you some information too.
Yeah.
Dude, this is super cool. And this is just scratching the surface, pun intended, with Kurt, because Kurt does way more than just this even too. So he's like our in-house primitive
traditional archery.
He's the guy that you would see on Discovery Channel living in Alaska for 100 days by himself. I know he's tried to apply for that.
Yeah, have you guys ever seen that show Alone on the History Channel?
Oh yeah, we love it.
I've been trying to apply for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet, man.
Yeah, there's no other option but winning on that show.
Yeah, he's like, they'll have to carry me out in the stretcher, man. I'll have to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of you are probably listening to, but I know you follow like Laura Zara and stuff like that. So that would be like an Instagram or influencer TV host, if you will, that you can kind of get an idea for what it is that he's really into. And it's a lot of primitive stuff. What else do you want to get into? We can get into some of the tools that you already have here. So you go ahead and grab that knife that you made there, buddy.
Yep. So this knife, this is a piece of elk antler right here with an obsidian blade and wrapped around with some deer sinew.
Yeah.
And also, the glue that they would make is pine pitch glue. So it's pine sap that's been concentrated onto the ground. So you would take that, some charcoal, maybe some cattails, or maybe some deer scat, rabbit scat, whatever you want to use to bind it. So what they would do is they would melt that into a clay pot onto the fire. And they'd mix everything up. And it's one of the strongest materials of glue that you could use back then. Yeah. And it's still one, to this day. Like when we when we put the inserts into the arrows at work, it's basically almost the same thing that they're doing back in the day.
That thing's a piece of art, man. Definitely, and we'll have this one up on the Instagram page. We'll get a picture of this. This thing is really sweet, man.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And then we got the axe head too, which I thought was really cool. This thing weighs like a freaking pound. Imagine getting hit in the face with this. So this would have been like a battle axe that they would have made back in the day.
What they would do, or maybe like a war club, when they were riding the horses and they are in battle, all you got to do is just have one good hit, and you're done. Yeah. Yep.
That'd definitely do the job for sure. It's crazy.
Yeah, this is a piece of rock that's about the size of an iPhone. And weighs about a pound, and it's got the point on it. That thing's sweet, man. Sweet. Yeah, so let's get into that. He's picking up his turkey calls. That's a perfect segue. Go ahead and grab that turkey call because I want to talk about Kurt and I went turkey hunting this year. We didn't have any success. He ended up getting some success in a spot that he didn't take me to. Bastard. But it's okay.
You got to leave those secret spots secret.
Well, here's the thing. It's not secret. I knew where it was. He went back to it. I found all the birds for him. No, I'd be lying if I said that. Go ahead and let's talk about something. Again, this guy, he makes just about everything that you can think of. Let's talk about these wing bones that you made for turkey calls.
Yep. So these are the two of the turkeys that I've shot over the years. So this one right here, I believe I shot that one back in 2017. So what this is it's the actual bones of the wing of the turkey.
Yep.
So what the Native Americans do, who knows how they found this out?
No doubt.
For one.
Yeah.
But what you do is you chop that bone up into certain sizes, and then you would fit them and shave them and insert them into each other.
So it's almost like a 3-piece slip piece kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know a lot of hunters these days that do not use wing bone calls. I know only one other hunter that is up on YouTube. It's Catman Outdoors, of course. That's all he uses. He doesn't use anything else. But
I think that's the same guy that runs around Adrian. Catman. Is it the same guy?
I don't know.
We'll have to ask him. We'll have to check that out. Adrian Wilson is a podcast guy that we had on not too long ago.
Yeah.
Go ahead and hit one of these for us, man. Let's see what you got. You got the good one over there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's pretty sweet.
That's so cool.
And like I said, how they found that out back in
No
the
doubt.
years.
Now, was that more of a sucker or a blow on that
So that one, so what you're doing is you're just taking it to the corner of your mouth, and you just want to just suck on it just a little bit, just to get that pop sound.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, that's so cool. The people on YouTube watching this are going to be in for a treat because this is so special, man. Go ahead and show that little one off.
Yeah, so that one actually has a piece of buckskin that was one of the deer that my papa shot a long time ago, and I wrapped that around there, and
With morel.
yeah, I burned a morel into it.
Yeah, we'll get into the morel because you
Oh, yeah.
hammering them this year. Hammering them.
Yeah, I believe we found over 500 this year,
Jesus.
just in 2 spots. Yeah,
And we posted that on our Facebook. I mean, you'd have to scroll back a little while to find that, but I think you had like 150 or something in that one picture that you sent me that we posted.
yeah, that was just that one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. So Kurt and I, we turkey hunted down in well, not Wayne National, but the old AEP land, or Jesse Owens State Park area now, I think is what they're calling it. And I mean, it's like tens of thousands of acres. And heck, we walked in. I mean, I think I put 8 miles on my watch, and God knows how many feet in elevation. I think it was like 30 or something flights is what my watch was telling us. But he's like, oh, I kept hiking in like another, what was it, down that power line.
No, it was
Another half mile or so at least.
a lot of walking. I know I lost a couple good pounds, all them weeks of hunting them.
Oh, he was after him every day, and it's like, people always want to know where the secret is to find these morel spots, and it's like, man, a testament to it. You just got to put the legwork in.
Yep.
You're not gonna, I mean, you can find them in easy spots sometimes, but if you want to get the big mother load and you're catching or grabbing over 500 of them, it's like you're gonna have to put the legwork in for sure to get that to happen. So
Yeah, the best spot I think I've ever found was a couple years ago, and it's actually an old elm tree that lightning hit, and the size of those morels were, I'd say, probably about the size of that moose antler right there.
yeah,
There's over 100 in one spot.
6-7 inches.
Biggest ones I've ever seen.
That's wild.
Giant.
So is that the time where you didn't you take a week off and just camp out there?
So I took about a week and a half off is what I took off, and I loaded up the truck, loaded up the boat, everything. And I had my buddy with me that's never been turkey hunting also, but he just wanted to get into it. He just wants to watch. I said, no, the heck with that. I said, you're going to get a license, you're going to get a tag.
Yep.
I got the gun. Let's go. So first day we get out there, I look over the top of the hill on the ridge. I say, "Hey, Brett, there's a group of Toms down there." He said, "What? No, there's not." I said, "Yes, there is." And I said, "All right, what we're going to do, we're going to go out here and we're going to circle back around and get down on the other ridge." He said, "All right, let's do it." So we loaded up everything, got the gear, got the guns, calls, everything, gone. Get ready to the other ridge. As soon as the first call I made on the slate call, there they go, hammering at us. I said, "All right, we got to sit down and get ready. I'll just tell you when." So about 10 minutes later, I'm cutting on the call again. And I just see just a little bit of red just pop over there. I said, "Brett," I said, "get ready." I said, "Here they come." I'll be danged if there wasn't 4 Jakes, though. There weren't Toms, it was Jakes.
Yeah.
But for him, being the first turkey, I let the turkeys come all the way up to about 25, 30 yards. And he's using my 20 gauge course. And of course, that gun's going to be sighted in. But I told him, turkeys are coming up the hill, and the one's starting to putt. I said, "Brett, you got to shoot. Shoot. And I'm telling him, he said, "I can't see him." I said, "He's right there, 25 yards in the wide open." I said, "You can't see that turkey." Finally, he sees one of them and just lays a smackdown, just perfect. I was more excited than he was. I was hooting, hollering. I was like, "Woo, there you go."
Yeah.
But he was like, "Man, did I get it?" I said, "Yeah, you smoked it, buddy. You got him."
Dude, that was awesome. And then, we went, and like I said, we did. There was a 1 power line cut. Man, we had a lot of pressure. We went opening weekend, right, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I was like, because I think I had to travel or something. I don't remember what I had to do. I know I was busy like the following weekends after that, and I was headed to Florida for the vacation for our anniversary. Yeah. So I was like, man, I got to get it done this weekend. Man, that Tom that was strutting was like beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
What was he, like 300 yards away or something?
He's about 300 yards away, and we could see his beard dragging the ground. But
oh, my God.
He also had, 4 or 5 hens with him.
Yeah, that was a hard weekend. A lot of people, we couldn't get him away from him, or they didn't let us get him away from him either. But a lot of people were having the same issues that time of year. It seemed like the weather, and then things just kind of were happening a little bit slower.
Well, you got the weather, you got other hunters. I know when I was up here on that top of that ridge, it was that same week I was taking my vacation, I had a guy come out and around me and try to shoot that bird out of the tree.
Yeah.
And I was set up, I shined the light at him, he was on the road, he out-hooed. Of course, the bird's going to shot gobble to him. Went ahead, just sat there to see if the bird come down to me, and it's right there, broke daylight. 2 seconds later, boom!
Yeah.
And there goes the turkey flying out of the tree. And it's just...
Yeah, that's the downside to having public land, is that you never really know what you're going to get. But at the same time, like, that area of the state, I've grew up in Ohio. I've lived in central and southeastern Ohio my whole life, but there's something different about that south of, like, Caldwell and
lots
southeast
of hills.
Ohio. Oh, it's just a freaking God's country, man. It's beautiful down there.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get sealed the deal. We heard lots of birds, and we tried to stock on him, and we were close. Remember when those cars came by?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I told you this or not, Ben, but we were sitting there, and heck, that was like the 9th inning for us, man. Like, we were trying to figure out what the hell we were going to do, and we pop over this hill, and the people listening to YouTube are going to get a good crack out of this, but we pop over this hill and we look like Dilbert or something, like popping our head out, and we're like, "Oh shit, there he is!" And he's like, "Get down!" Well, so we're trying to figure out a game plan for this bird. And I bet you 3 or 4 trucks drove by.
Yeah,
he's like,
camo.
He's like, "Yep, we're wearing camo. We're sitting on the ground." He's like, "Turn around, and act like you're just taking a drink." He's like, "Don't let them gnaw into us. They can go around the other side." That was a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, that whole week and a half I was off. It's just all beautiful weather. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah.
Just living off the land, basically just mushrooms, fish, hunting all week long.
Yeah, that's another good thing about that area too. The bass fishing up there is incredible.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people pulling some double-digit bass out of those ponds up there.
Yep. If you can hike in, it's a place to fish. If you know where they're at, it's amazing.
Well, let's get into some of the other stuff you got going on here too. So we have the knife and all that good stuff, but I know you're the cool thing is too with you is that you're into making a lot of traditional wear in terms of like hats and hand muffs and gloves and stuff like that. I know you brought some stuff with you. Let's take a look at some of those. Is it the beaver stuff, right, that you got?
Yeah, it's the beaver. This is a one beaver right here, but turn him into a hand warmer, of course. And then the extra,
Yeah.
which is his face and his butt, of course. Turn him into toboggan.
There you go.
But I had this in late goose season last year, and I don't think there's any other better, hand warmer I've ever had with 2, hand warmers inside of this one.
Yeah.
The hot hands.
Oh, so you put some hand warmers inside that muff.
Yeah. So almost immediately my hands are sweating just having them in here for 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Here, go ahead and throw that on, Ben. Mess up that pretty hair.
I'm not throwing it on.
You look like Jeremiah Johnson. This is a Jeremiah Johnson episode. Oh, yeah, this thing's nice and warm.
Yeah.
It's definitely cool.
Let's see. So this would be, so this hand warmer here that I got, or this muff, would be about the same size that you would find in like a sweatshirt pocket. It's about the same size as that. And it's fully on the inside and outside. It's got the beaver fur and the tanning. It's all in there. It's almost like, obviously, like a tube. But yeah, like you said, just having your hands in here for just a few minutes, it's already starting to get warmed up in there.
That's crazy.
And it's all natural. I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just show that to the camera. Yeah. We say it's about 15 inches or so. That's cool, man. Now, did you trap that beaver yourself? You get into some of the trapping?
Nope, that one, we actually have a guy that has a consignment deal with us now up there at Vance Outdoors.
Yeah.
And he comes and brings some of the furs that he's trapped over, the U.S., and he brings them back, and, we
like
sell them.
Like this bobcat.
Yeah, so the bobcat. So, unfortunately, it's not legal in the state of Ohio to trap bobcat or shoot bobcats yet.
Yeah, not yet.
But back to the turkey hunting, so the population way down.
Yeah.
They changed it from 2 birds to 1 bird this year. You got the hunters.
Well, the season this year is going to be shortened 2 weeks, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the season in spring of 23 is going to be shortened as well.
Yeah.
But they are allowing you to shoot a bearded bird in this fall.
Yeah.
So, but it is back to 1 limit on next year too. Yeah, we had Mark Wiley on one of our first podcasts right around turkey season talking about that. He's one of the biologists for the state.
Yeah. But the big thing, it's a lot of predator control that needs to happen. And bobcat is one of the main things that we need to have, a season on. Bobcat will run up a tree and grab that turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I'd like to see if there's some more statistics that show it. I mean, I know it's probably hard. I think I specifically asked Mark that when we were talking about the podcast about the bobcat population, and I don't think they just had the data yet for that. The other thing that's really important too, I know Joe Jackson, who's our manager at the Obet's archery shop. We'll have to have him on eventually at some point too. But Joey, he likes to shoot varmints as well, or predatory animals like raccoons and possums and obviously yotes and stuff like that. So I think there's definitely the downside is that it's cool that we have that consignment guy in there, because trapping, I mean, as a sport, like just like Dan and Jackie were talking about when we talked to them, trapping, it's dying, and there's a whole group of people out there that want to teach people how to do this kind of stuff.
That's the same way with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
All the old school timers, they want to teach, but nobody ever wants to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think it's important that, that we're offering these. I mean, are we going to sell a whole bunch of furs? I mean, we sold quite a bit actually, but just having them there, it's something that some other places don't have. And I think that's really cool. When we got all those in, I mean, I know you and I were sitting there doing a bow review video, just checking every single thing out, the beaver tail sitting there, or this bobcat in front of us, or the mink, or whatever that they got, those red fox that they had there.
Yeah. I do believe that we just picked up some muskrat, red fox, gray fox, some more coyotes, and a couple other kind of animals in there.
So have you got into doing much of the fleshing, or have you done some of that yourself?
So back when I was in high school, of course, that's the only thing I would want to do as soon as I got off of school, is go and check the trap line.
Yeah.
So I'd run the trap line all around the neighbor's property, on my papaw's property. But that's all I've ever really done, just hunting, fishing all my life.
Yeah.
But for the coyotes, and of course, all year round.
Yep.
But most of the time, probably my favorite thing to trap is fox.
Yeah.
Fox and muskrat.
Beautiful.
Muskrat is so soft, and you can do the skin. You can do whatever you want with the skin, like mine.
Yep.
I put him onto my bowstring, so he's the silencers.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the Pardon My Plate where they ate the muskrat? They just released it like last week or a couple weeks ago.
Mm-mm.
We'll have to check that one out. It was pretty funny. And then they were talking about muskrat, and I think Ranella was on there, and the fur of it's absolutely gorgeous. Like if you skinned one out, like you would not think that it's some little varmint animal.
Didn't they just do a bobcat one too?
Yeah, I think they did just a bobcat one too. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Let's get into I know you're building arrows. Obviously, you got all this stuff. The other thing that was kind of cool that you built, what we used with us, was the turkey fan to mimic when they're flying down off the roofs. Let's talk about some of the bow building, the traditional bow building, as well as some of the arrow building that you've been doing as well. I know you got some for Brandon, or our buyer there, Brandon Rose. So.
Yep. So I did end up making him one. It's a piece of oak rod right there, and I have a piece of flint that's on the end. It's an arrowhead, and it was some of the turkey feathers that was his bird that he gave to me, and the wings. So I took off some of those feathers and made fletchings. But what I like to do is I like to take a piece of Osage, and I'll split that, a big log, probably about, I'd say about 6 inches, 5 inches, somewhere in there, and I'll split it 4 ways. So that'll give me 4 different bows to choose from. So what I'll do, I'll cut them up, I'll put them in the corner of the closet, let them dry. You have to let them dry. You can't cut them down when they're wet, of course, and then they'll change shape. But after they dry over time, you go ahead and you get your knife, and you just follow that on down. You'll cut that bow down. What these are just primitive self bows. Yeah. All the Indians did it. Everybody does it. But there's a guy up on YouTube. What it's called the horn bow. And what he does is he'll take a bighorn ram, and he'll melt that horn down into the pot. Okay. It's one of the fastest bows on earth.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that one.
I think I've seen those before. Yeah, like an older guy.
It's crazy fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But like as for the arrows, what I'll do is I'll take the old cedar shafts. Nobody makes really cedar shafts anymore, so you have to special order them online, of course. Okay. But I'll take those, and I'll take like the old grizzly points, put them onto there, and then all my fletchings, all the turkeys I've shot. None of them are bought. So that's what what's special to me.
Yeah. And so they all have sentimental value to it. Yeah. I know we were talking about what kind of stuff we were going to do. We were kind of cart before the horse a little bit because we thought for sure it was going to be a slam dunk with the turkey season this year. Little did we know it wasn't going to be.
It was such a tough season.
Yeah, you got it done though. You got
it done. My bird was he was about 48 inches long from the tip of his snoot to end of his tail fan. Had an 11.5-inch beard and 1.5 inch spurs. Yep. But the cool thing with that is I had this bird already, coming in the night before. But then the car went by, spooked him, he went off. So the night I prayed.
That was at the end of the season.
Yeah, this is the last weekend of season.
You can hunt evenings too.
Yeah. So I got down there and I prayed to my papa. I said, hey, I need some help on this one, if you can. So that next morning I went out there. Boom, he's right there in the field. I watched him pitch down. He has 3 hens with him, and I have the starter decoy, so I got to the edge of the corner right there. Boom, sat that decoy out. He just locked in. He strutted the whole way to me. 2.5 hours it took this bird to strut all the way to me.
That's awesome.
And I'll be danged if he didn't stop right there at 35 yards, and boom, got him.
That's perfect.
My papa will help me on that one.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
You can't write a better script for that one, man.
Yeah, to pull that bird away from real hens, 3 of them right there, that's basically doing the impossible.
Yeah, considering that the one that we had 4.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't nowhere near interested in us at all.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's all. Yeah, and he had this spot. So we hiked in. I don't know if I called you that night. We hiked in probably, dude, what did we walk? Like two freaking miles?
It was about 2 minutes.
We walked on the railroad tracks for like 2.5 miles. I mean, we came back, it was pitch black dark.
Saw lots of squirrels.
Lots of squirrels. We got the hookup for the black squirrels this year. We saw 2 or 3 black squirrels, the decent sized ones too. So we're definitely heading back up there about October. We're gonna be back in there, but and then he ended up going back in there. We didn't hear a bird. We didn't hear nothing. 2 miles on the railroad tracks, just shot calling or whatever, and here he goes back in the same damn place and shoots a 44-inch bird. That's just
like he said, it was a tough season.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the perk of having those days off too, man. Mm-hmm. So what do you got looking forward to this year? What are we doing this year?
So what is coming up is early goose season, teal season, dove season. So I'm real big into waterfowl, of course.
Yeah.
Like you know, I have my own call business.
Yeah.
Custom calls. So this season, of course, I picked up a couple more leases. Got some new spots scouted out. It should be a good one this year. Really, the goose season is what I'm.
Yeah. Yeah,
about.
I'm looking forward to that. We're definitely going to hook
Yeah.
up with him. We need to do a goose hunt video.
Yeah.
We get him in there with maybe Alex and what's the other guy's name over there? What's Alex's buddy's name? Lupton.
Oh, Fisher?
Yeah, Fisher Nance.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know why. Sorry, Fisher. I don't know why I didn't know. But yeah, we need to hook up with those guys for sure because they're always taking the geese out.
Yep.
Yeah, so with goose, and then of course comes the ducks.
And that's in October, right? The early goose season. When does that start up?
So early goose season starts about the beginning of September.
The beginning of September.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
So it's right there with dove season and teal. But the duck season, that really don't start till November.
Yeah.
I mean, you can shoot the mallards and the wood ducks and everything else.
Oh, sure. And we got some spots for that too, Ben, on that 2-mile hike.
Yeah.
We're not going to give away any secrets today, man. Kurt would be mad at me if I did. It's in Ohio. How about that?
I keep telling Kurt that he needs to make an Instagram or a Facebook page for his calls. He can sell some calls.
He should. He should.
Yeah.
We could be shouting them out right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe it'll happen
Yeah,
after this.
maybe.
Make
Maybe.
some wing calls. Make some wing
Yeah.
calls.
Yeah.
Check those out. I'm gonna go ahead and call it out now. It's gonna be like Kurt Outdoors or something like that. So if you want to go ahead and start looking, he might.
No, he said it's Kurt's Custom Calls.
Kurt's Custom Calls. There you go.
Yeah.
Kurt Outdoors custom calls.
There you go.
There you go. You better start getting on there before. I'm just messing. So we're gonna do. We'll definitely hit up the goose season for sure because
Yeah.
it's not gonna be cold then. We can go hang out. We'll probably be sweating in the layout blinds, but that would still be a blast for sure.
I want to go on a dove hunt.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the spot, the new lease I just picked up, it's along the river, the Muskingum River. But right now, it's probably got about 200 doves sitting right beside her house. And she said, hey, kill them all. She said, if it flies, it dies. I said, all right, I'll do my best,
We
ma'am.
can make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes. I said, I got guns. I got guys.
Yeah.
We got this.
That's awesome. Oh, we need to for sure. Did you ever check out that? So we sell the Weatherby shotguns. Did you ever see the torture test that they did down in Argentina?
Mm-mm.
I guess Argentina's got a real big dove area or destination hunt, if you will, for dove. Man, they were shooting like thousands of them. And there was like a torture test to I think it was the element shotgun that we sell. But so we'll get into dove and some water and some geese.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got to get some whitetail action in there. When are you planning on being out in the whitetail woods?
So I go on out there to go deer hunting. I'll be out there first day.
Yeah.
First day.
Yeah, well, we got that new spot hooked up this year too. Hopefully, we can get it. We got that new controlled hunt that you're gonna hook us up with too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I hope we get drawn for that because that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Getting
that would be cool.
the three of us, and then Nate, who's our IT guy, he's also into all this as well. He's into fleshing and fleshing and trapping and stuff too. So that'll be fun. Getting all four of us out there. So
Nice.
getting the whitetail and put some doe smack down.
Yeah, so I've been scouting out for a couple months now, of course. But my family property, it's up there, Mount Vernon. Of
Okay.
course, we sold the one half of the road, but we had about 600 acres up there.
Okay.
So I haven't hunted this farm since my papa's accident. So it's probably been about 7-8 years. So this past goose season, I went up there for the last day. Went up there, didn't see no geese. Was walking the creek right there. And there's probably about 5-foot switchgrass. Get up to the edge of it, boom. There's 8 does and a monster buck. This buck had to have been at least 180 inch. At least. Typical.
That's awesome.
Giant. I haven't hunted the property in forever. I said, man, now I know where I got to go next year.
Was that the one you were telling me about the other day? You had your mind. I was trying to tell you. I was like, oh, we might shoot a buck over here at this controlled hunt. You said, no.
Yeah.
I got one on my mind. If I don't get it, I don't get it. But I got one on my mind.
So this buck, I'm almost 100% positive that it's the same deer because I went out there scouting, wanted to put out a mineral site, got up there, probably about 200 yards away. There's a deer. This is the beginning of May. He already has 4 visible points at 200 yards.
Yeah.
This deer's a giant. And I went in there, put the mineral site down, got the camera up, checked it probably beginning of June. He's in there every day at noon. Every day. He's even laying down in the minerals.
Right now?
Right now.
That's awesome. That sounds like a dead deer.
It's nuts. Because he's never pressured.
Yeah.
Ever. All them deer haven't been pressured in 7-8 years.
Well, so it's family property. No one else is hunting.
Nobody else is allowed to hunt it, yeah. So nobody's hunted it ever. For all them years.
That'd be perfect.
So why are we still sitting here?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, now that we're talking about deer hunting. I know we talked about it previously, but you're getting into saddles this year. Or
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
modified saddle.
Modified
you got your
saddle.
own
Yeah.
deal going on. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So this year, what I'm gonna try to do is, of course, go with the what's the saddle that you use? The
Tethered.
Tethered.
Tethered. Shout out tethered.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use a tethered saddle, but also I'm gonna use a aider, a hand aider, a knee aider, and a foot aider.
Yep.
So all I have to do is just sling that rope, no sticks. I have to sling that rope all the way up into the crotch of that tree, bring it back down, and I already have my presets. So what a preset is that you just take a piece of paracord, run that all the way around that crotch of that V, bring it back down, just make a big loop. So you just, it's a pulley system is basically what it is.
Yeah.
So when you get there in the morning, you don't have to throw that giant rope into the tree
Yeah.
and just be, lost in the dark.
Oh, sure.
So you just get there, hook it up, get into there, hook up your your hand aider, knee aider, everything. You just pull. That's all you gotta do. Just keep pulling, push, pull, and you get up the tree, no problem.
You don't look like Spider-Man with a camo suit on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, I knew we talked about the climber base. You were looking at that, possibly using a climber base with the saddle and
Yeah,
using
so
it as your platform.
there's a guy up on YouTube that I seen. He was using a lone wolf, an older lone wolf climber, and he used the seat. So he just put a bungee cord across right there, so he could put his feet into there. So all you gotta do is just have your safety line, and then you just pull that up to the top, lift it up, and then just sit down in your saddle, then lift up your feet. And he just did that the whole way up. I said, man, I got one of them. Why can't I do that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Like a little modified.
Then you can use it as a platform when you're up there.
Yeah.
Yep. So you know how to carry the platform in.
Mm-hmm.
What saddle are you going to go with? You going to pick up the Phantom, or are you looking at some of their other options? They have that Eberhardt saddle, that 2-panel, or
I believe it's going to be the Phantom.
just the Phantom,
Yeah.
regular Phantom. You're going to get all the accessory pouches and everything for it too,
Yeah.
probably.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll hook it up on the event. You can talk to those guys when they're down here too. August 27th for everyone listening. You've definitely heard us already talk about that on AdSpace and social media and on the podcast with John Eberhardt. But yeah, you pick his brain a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
saddle hunters in general are DIY guys, and so they're going to love talking to you about it. What else you got? for
So
'em?
when you're using your rope system,
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to use as a platform once you get up there?
Oh yeah.
You just going to get the tethered platform and hook it up when you're up there, or are you just going to...
So what I'm going to use first, I'm going to go ahead and use the lone wolf and see
Yep.
what that does for me.
Yep.
And if that doesn't work out, then I'm just going to switch over to the tethered platform.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and we'll have the XL and the regular Predator platform, so we'll have both of them, I believe, for this
Yep.
event. I think we're going to start carrying a lot more of their stuff. It was really successful last year for the limited quantity that we got. We sold just about all of it.
It went like that. Just,
Did you ever talk to people about it when they were in there?
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people that wanted to get into it and just learning.
Yeah. Say you have a couple knucklehead friends across the table that
Yeah.
that try to sell you on it every time that we're in there.
So once you're up there, like let's say hunt's done, how are you going to get back down?
So what I would use is a figure 8. Almost looks like a carabiner, but it's not. But it's a figure 8 descender, and you would just hook that up into the bridge of your saddle, and you just rappel all the way down to the tree. And then since your main line is already attached to the paracord, all you have to do is just shimmy it down.
Yeah.
Take your rope back in with you.
Preset again for the next hunt.
Preset.
Whenever.
So right now I probably got about 20 different presets on 15 different properties.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's if that's the way you're going to do it, that's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
good on you for doing it, man. I'm just going to use what they sell me. But I don't know. Maybe if you see me, I know Ben talked about you talked about doing one sticking this year.
I might try it out.
At least see.
Yeah, before the season, I might just mess around and try out, see what happens. And if I don't like it, then I'll just go back to 4 or 5 sticks and call it a day.
Now, what's the brand of the one stick you're going to go with? Is it just the one stick you already have, or is it
Yeah,
a
I'm just
different
gonna use one that I have already and just mess around with it. But if I end up liking it, I'll probably buy an actual. I might go buy a one stick, like a tethered one stick, or
Something super light.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Do they sell the Skeletors in 1x1, or is it
I
always
think
packed
it's a
four?
4-pack.
Okay.
I think it's a 4-pack. But even still, if you only had one, you could preset something.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you preset a tree, because typically I found myself last year only really using 3 before I got into some junk of some trees, right? So I'm starting to get into the limbs or whatever have you. That's 3 with an aider. I think 3 with an aider got us last year like 23, 24 feet.
I don't want to talk about aiders.
Well, I was going to. The guy that tells me he's going to one stick. I wish you guys had a video of him getting out of that air.
I was so mad. Yeah, I was so
cussing.
mad. Oh, it was pouring down rain, and I don't know. It was just frustrating.
I ended up just jumping from the last stick because he was
Really?
messing with it too much. I just took like a 5-foot jump. I was
Yep.
like, whatever.
Yeah, that was an experience. Well, I'd never used an aider before.
No, and that one was tough too. It was
Yeah.
my aider's pretty thin. I mean, it's got that piece of rubber tubing, and it's just made of am steel, and then like rubber tubing that you'd find on like a car or lawnmower or something like that,
Yeah.
just to kind of give it a little bit of texture or some surface. But yeah, I mean, and I didn't have it tied in. So what we did is I went ahead and I got to my first stick height, and before he climbed up, and then he took the aider so he can match me, because I think you didn't have as many sticks, or something was off. Like if we would have just went standard, we would have been off, and we were trying to film and be together on the same level.
You had the longer sticks,
Yeah, I had
and I had the shorter.
You had the
ones.
2-step hawk sticks, and I had the 3-step hawk
Yep.
stick. Yeah, so you needed that extra aider to get up to the height that I was at, and so
You had 3 sticks. I had 4, but yours were the longer ones.
Yeah.
Mine was the shorter
Yeah.
ones. That's what it was.
and man, were those things a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
So the number one reason why I'm gonna switch over to the saddle hunting is, I used to be that guy who would take in, the climber, or not the climber, the tree stand,
Yep.
and 6 sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, that gets heavy
That's a
really
lot.
quick,
Not to mention
especially
when-
going uphill.
and you're hitting all the brambles and briars and
Yeah,
small
everything's-
saplings and
Everything's
everything.
hanging up on you.
Yep.
It's awful.
There ain't nothing better than just walking in with a pair of sticks strapped to your backpack, man. You're good to go.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
If that. I mean, going to a one stick, even, especially if you went with the one stick with 16 ounces, it's literally a pound.
Yeah. So what I used to, I still do this sometimes, but I'll go in there, I'll find the spot I want to hunt, I'll set up everything, so I'll pack in them 6 sticks and then the tree stand, but I'll have everything set and I'll take away that bottom step, so nobody can't go in there and steal my stuff, even though
Yeah.
it's locked anyway
Oh,
on
sure.
the
Yeah.
tree. But sometimes I forgot that stick and I have to go all the way back to the track
Yeah.
to go and get it. Or if I took the boat, I have to take the boat all the way back to the boat ramp to get that
Sure.
stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
What
what we need to
happens?
do, we need to get him on his boat. This is just this now just popped in my head. I never told you. Rush Creek, the opposite side of Rush Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Now that everyone's going to go flock to it when they hear
Oh.
this, but you mean that it's surrounded by private,
Mhm.
and then the only way to access that side of the lake, and just like Eberhard said, if you're going to get to the deer that are going to be there, at least be worth checking it out, taking his little John boat over there and seeing what we can find.
Yeah, which I've done that, multiple times out and around the public area, around my house. Which some of those are just landlocked, and the landowners would not let you in there no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
But the one time I did get permission, I went into there onto this property. This is a quick story. Some of the biggest rubs I've ever seen in my life. I'm talking fence post sized trees,
Yeah.
just shredded. I've never seen so much deer sign in my life because all those properties, landlocking it,
Landlocked, yeah.
and none of the landowners hunt. That's the thing. So these deer are they're pets.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's the ticket, man. If you're going to get into them, I mean, just like while we went turkey hunting, if you're going to get into them on public, you got to put the work in.
Yeah.
There's not very many people that want to go hike the hills in Southeast Ohio, but I'll tell you what, there's giants down there, and there are big birds down there.
Yeah. How many deer tracks do you think we
Dude.
saw? How much deer sign do you think we saw
Oh,
altogether?
tons.
Just in rubs, beds,
You could-
tracks, trails.
We'd get off the road. Remember those? We'd
Yeah.
be walking down a dirt road, and you'd be seeing turkey footprints right on the road,
Yeah.
like tracks.
I
Like,
think you took over, did like stories on the Instagram.
we
or
did the
something.
morning. We did like the morning. I'm trying to think.
You were taking photos and you either texting them to me or you're putting them on Instagram.
I think we did a Instagram thing like the night before when we were trying to get a bird roosted off the railroad track, but then we went to a completely. I mean, we went 45 minutes to an hour, completely opposite direction where we were. But yeah, that was fun, man. That was fun. You definitely got me hooked. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was already hooked into it too, but like getting to a chance where we were belly crawling and trying to. I mean, he had the strutter, and I was behind him, filing in line, trying to stalk in on this bird. And man,
Tell you what, if you like, turkey hunting, you're getting into it, and you're real excited about it. Duck hunting is just
yeah,
it's just like turkey hunting because you never know what's going to come in.
exactly.
It could be a group of mallards, a bunch of woodies, some teal.
Yeah,
You never know.
you never know. Yeah.
Never know.
And I went duck hunting once. I went once with an old state trooper friend of mine, and over here at Buckeye Lake, and it's just not the same as going to some of these other places. But
Yeah.
I mean, sitting in the marsh, I think we made some like 2x4 little seats. You're trying to sit in the marsh. I tell you, the other thing that's a big learning curve on duck hunting too is trying to learn how to walk in the water, stepping on the roots, getting buried up to your waist, and figuring out how you're going to get out.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's fun.
My brother-in-law loves to duck hunt.
Yeah.
He went to Oklahoma last year with all of his buddies from work, and they slayed them. They're paying. Yeah, they're paying to go down there, and they hunt all these different water holes, different one every day. And I think it was like 10 or 12 guys from his work. They all chipped in together and paid for the guided hunt, and
That's awesome.
went down there and had a blast. They were hitting different birds every day, and he said it was amazing. He showed me a video last weekend. Actually, he's like, "Man, look at this, beautiful sun coming up, birds flying everywhere, just covered up. It was awesome.
Just covered up.
I'm like, man, that's awesome. That's
like
sweet.
like flooded fields and stuff.
Oh yeah. They just bounced around all over the place. He's like, dude, we were limited by 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
He's like, we just go back and hang out and drink beer, cook some food, go back out and hit it again the next day.
There's some days, I go on out there, that's the same thing would happen. Boom, I'll limit it out in half an hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of my birds.
Especially with geese.
Yeah.
Especially with geese.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Alex and Fisher and then Matthew Lewis, they all went down to Arkansas last year, and they were hanging out with the 24/7 guys. But man, some of those pictures that Alex had for us after he got back, it's just like, whew,
yep,
it's an awesome time. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into it more. It's just something I've never made the time for, because it's hitting in October. I think it's starting in October. But it's always been whitetail. I feel like you're either, there's exceptions to this obviously, but I feel like you're either just a dedicated whitetail hunter or a dedicated duck hunter. Like Alex and those guys, Alex, like I couldn't even tell you last time I pulled a bow back because I'm always duck hunting or filming duck hunts. But I think there's definitely people who do both. But I feel like if you're truly going to get into it, you got to kind of pick and choose.
It's hard to do them all.
If you're really going to get into it, it's going to get expensive really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to make that time too. Like you said, you gotta be dedicated to it. Like I can't dedicate myself to every species out there with 2 kids and a full-time job. It's just almost impossible.
Yep.
Yeah. So big thing with me. So what I'm gonna try to do this year is I want to shoot my buck early, so I can focus the rest of my time on waterfowl and of course rabbit season, pheasant season, everything else into the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the ticket. That's the ticket for sure. Is to get it done and get it done quick. Yeah, that's why I'm excited for this opportunity at that controlled hunt, because the one that Ben and I went to early season was at Ernebuck, and hindsight I could have made it work if I would have played a good shot on it, but you just never know, and it's just like, man, to be done at the beginning of October or end of September when the season picks up, it'd be like, or like Noah. Look at Noah for example, shot that Vader buck.
It was like the first couple days of the season.
Yeah, it was like the weekend of. Yeah, and it's just like boom, okay, I'm done. Like. I just shot a 170-inch deer. Like, I'm good to go.
So, like my buddy's dad, he always shoots his buck early. So, the buck that he shot last year was the biggest one he's ever shot to date. It was 210 inches is what it was scored. That's nuts. He shot it first day of season.
Yeah. It's like, what's the chances?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I believe it's easier. I mean, it's easy in rut, to get a buck cruising.
No, sure.
But early season, you can really pattern them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that
summer pattern's different than...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're less pressured, of course, because they haven't been hunted.
Yeah. That was the interesting thing I picked away from the Eberhardt conversation, too, is how much emphasis he puts on pre-rut. Just because in Michigan, he was saying that the peak rut also falls in line with the same time as their gun season. So he said anything after that's done. Like, he's like, I'm a bow hunter. I'm not out there during gun season, so therefore I'm not out there during peak rut. So I got to try to get these bucks cruising when they're looking for those early estrus does. And then post rut, I think it's when he was saying like that's when I go out of state or whatever, because Michigan's basically tapped out at that point. Anything else left is gone after gun season. So
well, like he said, Michigan's known for fishing.
Yeah.
Not for deer.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Not
anymore.
Just the way it is.
Yep, exactly. So are we taking in these primitive tools out there with us this year? We're gonna try to get one done with a
So unfortunately no. So in the state of Ohio it's actually illegal to use primitive, hunting implements.
So like you're going to Pennsylvania then?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, take it what you will. So there's a guy up on YouTube, it's called Primitive Pathways.
Okay.
So you get up on there, he's going down to Florida, he's hog hunting with atlatls, primitive bows, everything he made. He actually does test on a deer that he just shot with his regular bow, his compound. He hangs this deer up, and he shows you the penetration test of stone points. Even back when, the coastal Indians, they would use, shark's teeth.
Yeah.
And have them on the end of the arrows. Even that, he's getting 17, 18 inches of penetration.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, you're going to get, that's just as much of penetration as some broadheads, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about trad bow? I know you tried last year. Did you end up getting one with the traditional bow last year?
So I did. I ended up getting that doe.
Yeah.
It was the second to last day of deer season. It was right there in my grandma's backyard, actually. I just put the corn out an hour before I went out there. It was cold. It was so cold. It was probably 5 degrees, and I'm using my long bow out of everything I got. So I get on out there. I'm sitting down behind the ghost blind. So a ghost blind is a mirror blind. So it just mirrors on the ground.
Yep. So those things are sweet.
Sitting back behind there, and I just happened to look up off my phone, and boom, there's 3 does coming on in. And this doe is the biggest doe I've probably ever seen. Almost looks like a horse. This deer's coming on into the corn, 14 yards. I draw back, boom, perfect shot, heart shot. She was dead in 20 seconds at least. Rolled down the hill. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but this is when everything was covered in ice. Everything was like an inch of ice.
Yeah.
Me trying to drag this deer up this hill was almost impossible. But we, after we skinned the deer out, she only had her back 2 molars. This deer has to be at least 13, 14 years old, at least.
Yeah, she's old.
Giant.
That's the one that you sent to us for.
Yeah.
We posted it on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you go way back in the feed, you'll be able to see the one we're talking about.
Yeah, it was monster.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. This conversation just got me ready to go this summer. I don't want to wish the summer away because I know there's fishing to be done yet.
No, I'm ready for hunting season.
Oh, I know, man. I'm just
everybody's ready.
Once we get closer to August, it's just like it's almost like a flip of a switch.
Well, we can start practicing saddles and messing around with that stuff. I haven't even got up in my saddle yet this year, so need to get shooting out of a saddle and get all that stuff dialed in.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then I think my biggest thing this year too is I'm gonna switch over to the 8mm ropes and go a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
So practicing with those and getting a feel for how comfortable I feel like with those. I mean, there's really not much of a difference. I've hung on them before, but that and just getting the routine down with the new sticks. I'm running the Skeletors this year, which is what we're going to be selling, and they're a much better quality stick than what I had in the past, and they got some cool features and being able to be stowed away and stuff like that, just a packability, if you will, if that's a word. But just getting that process, getting that process down that way. Come into September, you're boom, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, no problem.
I know you got some cool stuff going on, and we always talk about it, but I wanted to get you on actual recording here because this is some really cool stuff, and we'll definitely be posting some pictures and stuff of it because there's some really cool arrowheads and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, the knife over there is beautiful.
The knife's
and
a work of art.
Wing bone calls are cool too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the wing bone calls for sure are super sweet.
Yeah, that like I was saying, a lot of this stuff is old tradition, and a lot of kids, these days they don't want to learn this. All they want to do is just sit at home, play the video games, this and that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to learn any of this, so it's a skill that's dying, and it needs to come back.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Go ahead and pitch that napping event. So if someone wanted to learn about the napping event, if you're local to Central Ohio or even across the country, listening to this, you come to Flint Ridge, and when is that?
Yep. So the next one that should be coming around the corner is beginning of September. Yep. So if you get up on Facebook, look up Flint Ridge Nap-In, Hopo, Ohio, it should pop up the dates.
Yeah. There's there. The Licking County area has got definitely a lot of Native American history between the mounds and the Flint Ridge and all the different tribes that lived here. So this is definitely the place to be when it comes to learning about the Native American stuff and the traditional stuff. So, dude, thanks again, man. I really appreciate you coming in, and
great to be on.
Let's look forward to a great 2022 season, buddy.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. All right, everyone, that's all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed that conversation with Kurtis. We're glad that he was able to make it in and share his collection of handmade primitive weapons, tools, and fur garments with us. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please give us a rating and share this episode with a friend. And until next time, enjoy the pursuit.